attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on Tuesday the 14th on Canto's Flight Solution. This webinar will be running at 4 o'clock in Sydney time and is available to all of our Asian and Southeast Asian customers as well. My name is Ricky Patton from DataBasics and I'll be your host for this webinar today. We're going to go through the flight solution from Canto, showing you all about how this solution can be used to manage all your files, keep track of all of your digital assets and make your image library a really achievable goal. In this presentation, I'll be taking you mainly through the application in a live presentation over the next 30 minutes. At the end of the 30 minutes, I'll open up the session to questions from everybody. Now then, in your GoToMeeting webinar screen down the bottom, you should have a chat area where you can send through questions during the length of the presentation. At the end of the presentation, I'll read these questions and answer them as best as I can. Of course, if you need more information after the webinar, please contact DataBasics directly. You can email me directly at ricky@databasics.com.au or send through to any of the forms on our website. As said in the beginning, I'll be going through 30 minutes on the application Flight itself, and then I'll be going through questions. Flight is a new SaaS-hosted cloud solution from Canto to manage all of your digital assets. You can see that this was launched earlier this year, and DataBasics quickly accepted the solution and made it available to our customers. So here on the screen, you can see some information from our blog about Flight, showing some screenshots of Flight and giving some descriptions of what the product is all about and what marketplace it addresses. When we think about Flight, there is one real key core benefit of Flight, and we've said it right here. Flight is all about ease of use. It requires no training, is just a cloud-based solution that you can adopt very easily and deploy throughout the entire organization. This has made Flight very attractive for many of our customers, as it's a solution that they can get started with very easily. As said, it requires no training. During this presentation over the next 30 minutes, I'll really be taking you through the whole range of capabilities in the Flight product. It is very, very sophisticated solution, but because the interface is so easy to use, we can really do that in a short period of time. If you want to know more information about Flight or want to see where you set up the administration areas of Flight, please let me know and I can run a personalized webinar and take you through the settings or the preferences area of Flight. So with that said, let's get started. So let's just log in first onto Flight. And off we go. When we first log in, we'll see that we'll go to our immediate dashboard. This is my landing page in Flight, taking me to an initial view of the content in my Flight solution. The images in this case are displayed on my screen using a thumbnail view. Down here in the bottom left right-hand corner of the screen, you can see that I can change the size of the thumbnail. So say if I want to look at larger scale thumbnails, I can do that. I can choose the sort order that I want my assets being displayed in, so I can sort them alphabetically if I choose. In this presentation, I'll be using the sort by date option. I can also choose to not only show my images in a thumbnail view, but I can also change to a list view. So if I click on list view here, you'll see that I'll get the images being shown to me more or less like in a spreadsheet, where each horizontal row is an individual asset or an image stored in my Flight. You can see it shows a range of information about that image, such as the size, when it was uploaded, and who's given and give you direct access to a whole range of different actions. In this presentation, I'll be using the thumbnail view, which is most typically used by our customers. So having a quick look at how you can arrange the view in Flight, let's go and look at these smart albums. Now, the smart albums are these 6 icons displayed across the top middle of the screen here. This is an automatic capability within Flight, and it helps you get instant access to all of the different sorts of content that you can upload in Flight. If I just point at each one of these, you can see that the first one on the left, Images Smart Album, as I've got displayed on my screen initially, shows just images, static images like photos, could be logos, could be a range of different drawings or other standard two-dimensional images. If you move across into my Video Smart Album, you can see that Flight can also be used as a video library. We've got support for a wide range of different video formats, and they'll be displayed, as you can see, with the starting frame as a pictorial image, and we'll be looking further in the capabilities that you can use with videos. You can also store audio files in Flight, a range of different documents. We'll be investigating this further. Presentations, and then the sixth icon over here, Smart Album. This is really an area where all other files that don't fit in any of the first 5 categories get placed. Now, this isn't to say that we don't support these range of files. Yes, we do support these files, and I'll be showing specific examples of that later. It's just to say that they don't fit in any of these first 5 categories. So let's have a little bit further look at what we can do with different content in these categories. So what can we do with images? So when I click on one of the images here, and you can see I've got a PNG at the moment, it opens up and will show me a full screen preview of that photograph. I can move to the next file here, and you can see that it will show me a full screen preview of that file, and onwards, and more. So each one of these different file formats, and you can see that I'm moving through quite a range of different file formats there. Each of those different file formats I can preview with Flight, and it really doesn't matter what the file type is to me. I just click on the file and it will preview to me. We'll be looking further at the different file formats supported in Flight, but let's move on now and look at how Flight deals with videos. Videos are a very exciting part of an image library. More and more customers we find are now using video. So let's see what happens when we click on, say, this video of Yosemite National Park in America here. You can see that it loads, and when it finishes loading, we'll be able to play the video of Yosemite straight out of Flight as a streaming preview. Now when we play this video, you'll see that it plays in full quality. I've got the sound playing on my side as well. I don't think the sound goes across to the webinar, but you can see that this shows you the video playing in full resolution, full quality. This is a very attractive part of Flight because you can catalogue all of your different videos in here and have them available to anybody at all via the streaming capability. So that's an MP4 file. So let's go and have a look at an MOV file. And again, I just click on that. It gets loaded. It's a plain landing. And you can see again, we can stream that file straight into Flight very easily without needing any other software on my machine. Very easy to use. And as you can see, we've got a whole range of different video formats being stored here. We've got MOVs, that's an MTS, a AVI, FLV, MPEG-4 AVI there, WMV, Windows Media Player, whole range of different video formats being stored in Flight. For audio files, again, audio files, we just click on them. And when we click on them, it'll load into Flight and allow us to play the audio file directly within Flight. Here, I said, I don't think you hear anything through the webinar, but that is playing the audio file with high quality. So you can see that you can play any audio file within Flight. So if we have a look at some of these documents up here, you can see with a PDF file, for example, we get the preview of the PDF file. Here we've got an EPS file, quite a complex file format there. And moving on to the Word file here, the docx file, again, you can see that it's showing us a preview of the Word file as well. Same for presentations, and just moving on to that Others Smart Album here. As I said, just because it gets catalogued into the Smart Album area, it doesn't mean it's not supported. If we go to this InDesign file, for example, you can see that it'll show us a preview of the InDesign file here as well. So a whole wide range of different file formats supported within Flight. Now then, in running this webinar, one of the top asked questions is always asking me, what are the different file formats supported in Flight? So you can see I've got two resources open here in my web browser. I'll just go to the online support. You can see that Canto provides a whole wide range of information about the Flight solution. So let's have a look at what file formats does Flight support. So you can see here that we've got a wide range of different image formats, very large list of video files, audio files, documents, presentations, and some over here is other. Now, in my experience with Flight, this is a short list. This is not all of the file formats supported. For example, over here in documents, you don't see EPS, but that was supported there along with the preview. Same with the Word file as well. That's not listed here. So I think Canto is being a little bit conservative with stating what file formats Flight supports. But this is all of the file formats that you typically need to be in a organization. So let's moving straight along here. What I want to do is I just want to run a poll. So this poll is going to ask people about whether you are going to store video in Flight. So you can see the poll is launched on the screen. This is where you can interact with the session. If you could choose one of the three different options there, that you've got lots, some, or no video at all, it would be much appreciated. I can see we're getting quite a few answers here. I'll let it run for a few more seconds. All right. Okay, so I can see that most people have at least some video. Only a couple people have said no video at all. And quite a few people have said that they'll have lots of video in the Flight solution. That's really interesting information, and I appreciate that you're attending the webinar and providing that information back via the poll. Okay, so let's keep on going here. So let's now, after we've had a brief introduction to Flight, seen how we can present the files on screen, looked at the various different smart albums here across the top of the screen, let's go and have a look at how we can actually organize our content in Flight. So over here on the left, you can see that I can go into my folders and album structure. So these folders and albums, which I'll explain to you, are different ways that you can organize your content within Flight. So at the top level, we've got what we call a library. So if I go into my library, you can see that the library has got 5 different folders in it. And these folders are given different names based upon my classification of this content. I can move into these folders either on the left tree navigation here, or I could just click straight here onto, say, I'm going to move into this broad groupings of my content. So in my broad groupings, I've got 3 different albums, personal, local, and overseas content. Let's look at the local content first. Now, this is an album, and you see that when we open up an album, it'll display all of the actual assets that have been catalogued there. So you can see I've got a number of different items stored in my local content. Let's go back up to broad grouping, or we can look at overseas content, or we can go back up to broad grouping and look at my personal content here. Okay, and so you can see with our library, we can have different folders with different content in them. And I've looked at the broad grouping, which is a fairly flat organization. It's a single folder, and then within the folder has got albums, and within the albums sit the content itself. Now, if we go and look at location here, you can see that with location, I've got a more complex structure. I've got folders within other folders. So I've got a folder here for Australia. And then within Australia, I've got albums for 3 of the major cities in Australia. So I can look at the content for Brisbane. I can go back up, look at the content for, say, Melbourne. or look at Sydney. So each one of these folders contain different albums, and the albums are where you put the assets in individually. And that allows you to have your assets stored in multiple different locations. You can, in fact, classify a single item, a single image or a video into different albums. So you can cross-reference it into different locations if you choose. So let's just go back up to our top level here. So I've shown navigation via the folders and albums on the left-hand side. We can also now go into a general search capability. So if I click into the quick search area here and look for just a simple search term first, blue. So if I search on blue, you'll see that I get 4 different assets here. Okay, and that's pretty simple. Let's go and search on city. And then when I search on city, you see that I'm getting 6 images here. Oh, no, that one's a video. So I've got 5 images and 1 video. But you can also see that I've got 2 albums being shown as well. So let's go and look at the information that's stored in my different records, my different images and videos and albums, and see where Flight is getting that information to respond to the search from. So let's go and select my Brisbane image here. Now I'll just click the down button here, and this takes me into the metadata or the search terms associated with this image. So working from the left-hand side of the screen across to the right, I'll just start showing you various different information that Flight extracts or makes available for you to classify your content. So you can see here first, we've got a list of metadata fields. These metadata fields are extracted automatically from the image when it was catalogued into Flight. So you can see, for example, it automatically extracted the name of the author, the tool that was used to create it, the image type, resolution, size of the image. This is all extracted automatically. If we click on the More button here, you can see a whole wide range of different metadata was extracted from the file automatically when it was uploaded into Flight. So all of this is available to you, and all of this information you can search across if you choose. Along with this formal metadata, we've got a description. So this is where we can just type in a general description about the file. It's a textual sort of description. Then on the right-hand side, this is where we classify into different albums. So I mentioned before that a single record, as an image in this case, can be in multiple different albums, cross-referenced, we say. So you can see here that I've got this in a shared collection for a particular person. I've got this in the Brisbane album, and I've also got it in my local content album. If I want to add it to another album, I can just click on the plus sign here. I can search then for different albums. So if I want to add it to documentary, I can just add it to documentary. And you'll see now that that will update, and now it's in the documentary album as well. If I want to take it out of an album, I just click on the cross there. Right? So I've just taken it back out of that documentary album. So this is how you can cross-reference the same record into multiple different locations. Then we've got keywords here. So keywords are a predefined list of items. So I can use my keyboard and type ahead. So I can type in LAN and get to landmark, because in this image are a few important landmarks in Brisbane, and click on the plus button there, and we've added the landmark keyword to this asset as well, and that'll be searchable automatically. So keywords are a structured list. It comes from this predetermined list. This list is something that your person that organizes Flight in your organization will set up, and it's available for all of the different users of Flight. Tags, however, are more of a free form entry. If I want to add an extra tag, I just type it in. So if I want to add in bridge, I can just type in bridge and click the plus sign, and the tag bridge is now added to my asset here. So this is more for free-form tags, as we call them, whereas keywords are structured. So having done that, you can see where when I searched on city, I came up with these different images here and video because they had metadata associated with them. And if I go into the folder for Singapore and just click on the down button here, it shows me the information, the metadata associated with Singapore. So you can see it too has a description, and you can see that I've used the word city in the description. So when I searched on city up here, it pulled out any occurrence of the word city from a whole wide range of locations. So it's picked up, an album that has also got the search phrase in its city. So that makes the solution very easy to use, and the search capability is really broad. Now then, let's just go back up to my landing page here, my top view. Now then, we've shown how we can search across the different content that's stored in my assets. Let's now also look at how we can filter this content. So if I click on the filter, you can see that some of my keywords and tags are being displayed on the left-hand side here. And so if I just click on city, so I searched on city before, now I can click on the keyword city. So I'm specifically filtering for assets that have got city as a keyword in them. And I can also choose bridge. So say if I click on bridge, and you can see that bridge gives me my two assets here, and you can see that's where I added bridge as a tag to this black and white image of Brisbane just a moment ago, and now that's available within Flight. So in summary, with Flight you can search across the metadata in the search area here. So if I just entered city a moment ago and it searched on all of the content, or I could filter using any of the keywords or the tags that I've provided in the solution. Now then, let's just go back up to my landing page and look at other ways that you can organize content. So we've been looking at the folders and albums that have been used to organize the content, and everybody using Flight will be able to use those folders and albums. But you're also able to have a personal selection. So I've got my favorites over here. My favorites are the assets that I'm particularly working with. And when you see, if I pass my mouse over each one of you see that there's a little extra information showing underneath one. Being a favorite is this heart here. So say if I just go back to my landing page and I choose maybe this swan over here, and I just add that as a favorite, just click on the heart there, go up to my favorites, and you can see now that my favorite is now showing again here, being the swan images here. If I want to take this out again, I can just click on the heart there and remove it from my favorites. Right. And along with marking images as your favorites, you can also like them. So many of these I've liked. I can click on the thumbs up icon there, and that means that I've liked this asset here. So we can sort of effectively vote on the content about which ones we like or we don't like, also by this like the thumbs up icon there. Now then, let's go and look at more information that's stored along with these assets. So if I go and choose one of these assets, so this image here of the bridge in Brisbane, you can see up in the top left-hand corner, it shows you how many times the asset's been viewed, how many times it's been downloaded, how many people have this asset in their favorites, and how many people like this asset as well. The next icon along tells us about the shares for this image. Now let's look at how we can share content. Sharing is a very important part of a image library. It allows you to make the content available to other people, to collaborate on the content and really work group with your teams and your colleagues. So just going down to the metadata here, let's first look at how we can message somebody else in my Flight instance here within my organization and send them a comment about a particular image. So here, if I just type in the @ symbol, and then Linda. She's one of the people in DataBasics. I can select her and I can send her a comment here. As soon as I hit the return key, that comment has been sent to Linda, so you can see here it is, and it's been sent to her on this date, and she will get this turning up in both her email, but she also gets it showing up here in my message board. So if I go up into my message board, you can see that I've got a range of messages that have been sent to me. This is showing the little red icon there and a 1 there to say that I haven't read this comment yet. So it works as a notification system as well. So this is how you can collaborate with other staff members, other users of Flight about the contents. And so if you want to send somebody external of Flight this content as well. So we can do that also from the share icon here. So if I click on share, you can choose two methods to share. You can either share with Dropbox, or in my case, I'm going to share with email. So I just click on the email icon here, and I'm going to share this with a friend of mine, Jerome. Jerome's a good friend of mine. I work with him quite a bit, so I might want this to be available for 4 days. I just want to type a message to Jerome. Okay, and once I've finished that off and click on the submit button, an email will be sent directly out of Flight to Jerome telling him about this image. So let's just see what that email will look like for Jerome. So I'm just jumping off here into the settings, because one of the features of the settings is that I can look at the share history. And when I go there, you'll see this is the share that we've done today. And when I look at this, we can see that when Jerome gets that email and clicks on the link, he will come to our branded portal here. He will see the image, just that one image that I shared with him, and he will be able to perform a range of actions with it, including downloading or previewing the image as well. So this is somebody external to Flight. It's not somebody who's a registered user. It might be, say, an agency or one of your colleagues external to your company that you work with, and you want to make some of this content available to them. And you can do that directly with Flight. Okay, and so we're getting to the end of the first 30 minutes where I take you through Flight. I would just want to show you perhaps one more of the features of Flight, and then we'll move on to the questions. I can see quite a few questions have been uploaded during the course of the webinar. Okay, and the one feature, it's one of my favorite features about Flight, is the ability to store multiple versions of the same asset. So say if we look at this black and white image here, and you might ask me, why have we got a black and white image stored here? And the answer is that I wanted to share this out, particularly as a black and white image. I might have maybe somebody sent in a request to get the black and white version. I created the black and white version, and then I used the share to send that out to them. So how have I done that? If I look over here in the bottom right, you can see that I've got 2 versions of this asset in Flight. If I click on the More button, we can see more information about those 2 versions. So you can see my first version here is a color one, and my second one is the black and white one. I'll just quickly make the first version the current asset. So that's just swapping them around, and it will make that the current version of this file, this photograph about Brisbane. Okay, and once that's updated, and I go back up to the preview here, you can see that that's now the color version of this asset. So it's stored both the color, and over here the black and white, and I can choose which one of these 2 versions of this image I want to have as the current version. So it means what one people get when they first go and download the asset. And of course you can see here that any time they can go onto the versions more, and they can choose to download an earlier version here. So it doesn't exclude any of the earlier versions from being available. It just means that they're stored and you have to go and specifically retrieve them, whereas the current version is the first version that you get when you search and retrieve on that content. Okay, so that's the my presentation over. Now then, we're just going to get into the questions. As I said, I was going to do the presentation in the first 30 minutes, leaving 5 or 10 minutes to answer some questions. Now then, just looking at the webinar panel here, I can see a range of different questions have been asked. So the first one I'll just answer here. Can permissions be applied in flight? Yes, you can. So if I just go and look at my different folders here, and if I say choose this broad grouping folder and click on the down button to go into the information about this folder, you see here we can choose that we can make it protected. And when we protect it, we can choose which users can get access to it. So if I want Entra and maybe Linda to have access to this grouping of files, and they will be the only people that will have access to this content, I can do so. So yes, we can apply permissions for the different content within Flight. Now I'm just going to turn that off because of course I do want everybody in our group to have access to the content in Flight. Okay then, that's the first question. Thank you very much. Now then, next question. This is a very popular question, so popular I've actually made a little search on this. GPS coordinates. Yes, if your camera is storing GPS coordinates, then yes, Flight will extract the GPS coordinates. So we can see here, this asset has got longitude and latitude showing, and down here, the GPS time is also showing there as well. So yes, if there is any GPS information in your asset, then Flight will extract it and make that available also. Okay, so I've just got, after I showed that permissions there, we've got a couple of time for another few questions, and I can see some people are asking about what they really want to do, I think, is share out the content for an external group of people. So I showed how you can click on the share button, for example, and send this image out via an email and make that available to somebody. And I did that for a single asset. And when we went in, remember I shared it with my friend Jerome, and we clicked on that link, Jerome will be able to download. It was a photo of Brisbane via the branded interface. But what this question is about is really I want to share a group of files. Okay then, so yes, we can do that. So if we go into my locations and into my Australia folder, you might have noticed that I had 3 albums for the different major cities there, but I also had another folder with 2 albums in it for Elizabeth and James. Now then, if we go and look at these, you'll see that within this folder here, we've got a range of different images, and this is effectively Elizabeth's Dropbox, or the place that I'm going to put content and I'm going to share out to Elizabeth. And how do we share out that content? So you can see if you just pass your cursor over an album, you can also share a whole album. So I could choose this album, I could choose to share this out, so via email. So I'll just put in elizabeth.com, make that available for 6 days, and okay, and that's sent out to Elizabeth. And when she gets that, so if I just jump up into my settings and go back to my sharing history and look at the Earl for Elizabeth, you can see she gets access to all of that different content, She can choose to download any of these files here, right? And again, we're doing it via our branded portal, and that's all been done out of Flight. Okay, right, so we've got time for one more question. It's the question I can see a lot of people have asked, is how do you upload content into Flight? Well, yes, I can. I sort of let people ask me that question during the question session because it's, of course, something very important. So you can upload files into Flight in a wide variety of means. You can just click on this button here, Upload, and then you can go to your system and choose a file, say off my desktop, for example. I could alternatively go into maybe one of my albums over here, so my album for Brisbane, and I could choose to upload my file directly into the Brisbane album here. Or I can do something which I think is much simpler, as I can open up a new Finder window, go to my desktop, and I'm going to choose this image of the Dead Sea, and a moment, I'm going to put that into my, go, Dead Sea, put that into overseas content. So you can see I'm just dragging this from my desktop into Flight, integration into your workstation, your operating system. And you can see when I put it into overseas content, it puts that box around it to tell me that it's going to upload that directly into the overseas content album. That upload's just occurring now. Should be complete in just a second. Right, okay then. And that's got uploaded there. So if I just go up and refresh my view, right, okay, and so we can see that Dead Sea image, it's been uploaded. It's now appearing in the top left because I've got this sorted by date, and we can click on it. We can see the preview. We can go and do shares. We can like it. We can put it into my favorites, and we can download it. So that's how easy it is to upload content into Flight. Okay, now thank you very much for attending the webinar today. I'm going to close up at this point. We're just getting close to our 40 minutes. As said to you originally, if you want to find out more information about Flight, please do so by contacting DataBasics. We're here to help. You can use any of these different contact methods. You can come into LinkedIn. You can connect to us on Twitter. You can email info@databasics or myself directly, ricky@databasics.com.au, and we look forward to hearing from you. So at this point, I'd like to close the webinar, and again, thank you very much for your attendance today.